If you Google anime aesthetic, many pictures edited from their original frame or not are from older anime, like 90s anime. The 90s anime aesthetic has been popular for a while now, appealing to e-girls and SoundCloud rappers alike.
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
But why do we like it? What makes this retro anime aesthetic so appealing to a relatively young demographic? We feel an emotional connection with anime that many of us were never around to see air. Many people have never even watched. I'm here to attempt to decipher why we are so drawn to this nostalgic aura that emits from pictures and videos that can be considered the 90s anime aesthetic. The 90s anime aesthetic can be split into two defined groups, the sad anime aesthetic and the tranquil anime aesthetic. Let's start with the former. Anime has been known to have some themes darker and more serious than most Western animation, so real-life situations, such as mental illness and relationships, are more accurately represented and more openly represented. A sad anime aesthetic will display one of those things, or a mixture of the two. One of the major parts as to why this aesthetic is appealing is the versatility of a frame from a show. Take a look at this image. "I feel so lonely" is a phrase that anyone can apply to themselves. Even if the context of the statement in the anime is not that severe, a single frame can be interpreted on many different levels of severity. If somebody feels down and truly alone, even if that character from the show didn't feel the same way, they can derive an interpretation that they do. Such as if someone just feels kind of sad and kind of alone sometimes, they can also make the interpretation that the character feels the same way, helping it relate to them. The broad and generalized statements from these frames of anime, a lot of the time being from classics such as Sailor Moon or Neon Genesis Evangelion, make them more applicable to a wider range of viewers. And I would like to add this vague relatability is not a bad thing. In fact, it's great people who feel sad or down have something they can see themselves in. On the other side, there is the tranquil anime aesthetic, and this relates to the sad anime aesthetic more than one would assume. Tranquil anime aesthetic represents peace, and as I've named it, tranquility. Sometimes it'll be sunsets or cherry blossoms, and then sometimes it'll be small, seemingly mundane things, like a drink, supermarket, or two hands holding. These images represent the peacefulness that can be present in daily life. Appreciation for sunsets, cherry blossoms, or just a cold drink. Even though very few people have perfectly peaceful lives, these images remind us that not everything is bad. Appreciate the little things, the things that get you through the day. These images, instead of invoking relatability and sadness, invoke a feeling of calm. Sad anime aesthetic and tranquil anime aesthetic go hand in hand because they both represent aspects of life that everyone experiences, even if for a moment. One says, "I understand how you feel," and the other says, "Everything will be okay." It's a bittersweet combination, really. Now that I've established the two subcategories of anime aesthetic I've observed, the initial question comes into play. Why old anime? Why not new anime, or at least kind of new anime? We see these images that are obviously of an older era of anime, and we feel a sense of nostalgia because we know it's from the past. Nostalgia plays heavily into emotion. We can look to the past as a time when we weren't heartbroken, or as a time where every day did seem calm, where every day was cherry blossoms and sunsets. We subconsciously make the connection to nostalgia because although you might have not been around for the actual anime to air, it brings you back to your own point in life in the past, where you can feel the nostalgia of personal experience. Since the images we see are from the past, the connection to our own personal past is made, and the two link together and become one. Whether we consciously make that connection or not, the feeling is there. We view the past as a better time because the present might not be too great. All of our problems from years back seem so trivial, while the problems of now seem overbearing and exhausting. When we feel worn down or heavy, it's nice to see these images, look back, and think to yourself, everything will be okay. Thanks for watching.